Hi, I'm Jeremy, and everyone seems to have a side hustle these days. I'm no exception. Outside of my day job, I've been investing in residential real estate for about a decade now. And when I think back on the very beginning, when I was just trying to figure out how I was going to jump in, I can see a younger version of myself, totally risk averse and not really sure how to confidently dip his toe in. I'm in a much different place these days, and we have a number of properties in our investment portfolio, but it wouldn't have happened if I didn't find a way to get out of the starting blocks and make those first essential moves to acquiring a property. This story today is for both continuous improvement minded people as much as it is for those interested in real estate. That's because this is a reflection on change readiness and change management, as well as an origin story of sorts about how I got started in real estate. Now, if you want to dig deeper into the real estate portion of this story and really get behind the curtain, follow the link in the description and you'll find some digital templates that really crack open the specifics of what I'm about to discuss. So, being a continuous improvement professional by day, I can look back on this experience and really put it in that CI context and recognize the steps of change management that I had to apply to myself and on myself to turn the corner and do something new and uncomfortable. It's the same thing we do at the office to prepare a team for change. I just didn't realize at the time that I was doing this to myself subconsciously. So let me set the stage. At the time, I'm in my mid 30s, married with a few kids, fairly comfortable. I have a good understanding and degree of control over my life and my finances at home, but I also had some ambition for more. Who doesn't? I've always had a little entrepreneurial spirit, along with a number of great ideas that I never took any action on. But this time I really wanted to. Real estate, and more simply, renting out a house, is something that people have been doing successfully for generations. There's no reason I couldn't do it too. But the question was, I'm comfortable where I am. How do I move myself off my spot? How do I move into discomfort and take on risk, especially if I don't really have to? This is the exact same thing we do at work with different teams, isn't it? They're comfortably performing their work today the same way they've been doing it for years, and someone from CI shows up and tells them another way to do it better. Are they going to be good at this new way? Are they personally going to be just as successful and confident and well regarded as an expert in the new way? Maybe. It's the classic equation for change. The need for change has to be greater than the resistance to change. So we either need to increase the need for change and or reduce the resistance. That's really where I was too. How do we do this? How do we work the equation to drive change? We appeal to the heart and the mind, and we show them the path. For me, I didn't need too much more appeal to the heart. I had desire already. I had an entrepreneurial spirit and a vision of myself as a successful real estate investor. The interest was there. Where I was struggling was with the appeal to the mind and defining the path. Mentally, I could quickly weigh the value of my nest egg, staying safely where it was versus plunking it down on a rental house and potentially watching it vanish. I could see my free time being spent with my family and friends on one side, or spent repainting interiors, finding tenants, and managing lease agreements on the other. It was a matter of control and vulnerability, and my risk of losing the control I had and exposing myself to vulnerabilities. Resistance to change is so often about control and vulnerability. Think of the teams you work with again. Asking them to do something different means asking them to let go of some sense of control that they have, of what they know, and making themselves vulnerable to take on the risk of failure or at least potentially lesser performance. I had great control on my life and largely minimized my vulnerabilities. How can I get myself to a place to try something new without loosening my grip too much on those things? For me, it was going to take more knowledge, a plan, and some courage. A quick aside about courage. Courage is mistakenly confused with fearlessness. I don't actually know a lot of people who are fearless, maybe not even one. Fear is a healthy, self preserving emotion. I'm all for it. Courage is not fearlessness. Courage is taking action in the face of fear. So, change management and change leadership are sometimes really about building courage in those we're asking to do something they may fear doing. You're asking someone to let go of control, to absorb some vulnerability, and that can be somewhat fearful. Addressing the head and the heart and sharing a solid plan is how we build courage. In my story, I had the heart. To get my mind in the path right, I needed knowledge and a plan. I needed the mental confidence to produce the courage to act. If my life were a movie, this is where the musical montage would begin, right? So for a number of weeks, I looked at houses on Zillow, I tracked sales prices, I researched rent rates in different neighborhoods, I talked to bankers to get loan terms, and I tried to figure out how much things would cost to repair and maintain in a rental house over time. I was building a model. I was drafting and throwing away versions, considering fixer-uppers versus turnkey properties, calculating how to potentially incorporate investors or go it alone, tinkering and tinkering. This effort provided a sort of crash course education, but even better, it helped me build a personalized calculator that I could use again and again on different houses for sale to see which ones fit my style and fit my budget. I was getting my mind right and bringing it to a level that matched my heart's enthusiasm so I could reach this sort of crescendo of readiness when it came time to act. I was building courage. When a prospective property showed up in my alerts, I could bring my knowledge and bring my calculator and assess the situation unemotionally, almost robotically, and make a go, no go decision with great confidence. At the office, we need to do the same thing. The team we're working with may not be the ones to do this deep analysis, like in my montage, but together you'll need to help them see the rational argument for change, along with creating the emotional desire for it and the psychological safety to let them loosen the grip on control and accept some vulnerability. My heart and mind were ready. My wife was supportive. Now I just needed a plan for what to do when the time came, the steps to get me from here to there. And this was actually the easier part. Since I had clarity in what I was trying to achieve and now the knowledge to structure the right kind of purchase, which is really where most of the risk was attached to, making the plan to move through the purchase process, the listing process, and eventually to the point where the home is rented, the rest of my fears, concerns, and questions were gone. I would think about the major milestones of the process, like a process map, or even better, like a SIPOC map, and call out all the tasks that needed to happen at each point. This became my checklist, my standard work, but it was actually working through the decisions at each point that started to get me excited. I had options along the way to consider. Could I mitigate the risk of vacancy by creating 2-year leases? Could I offer rent discounts in exchange for managing the landscaping and snowplowing to free up my time? Thinking and talking through these considerations helped me hash out a path that solidified that courage and channeled it into motivation. At work, this looks like collaborating with the team in designing their path to change, giving them a chance to put their fingerprints on the steps and decisions that shape how they're going to get from here to there. You've equipped them with the knowledge and the emotional appeal. Now this gives them ownership and confidence and momentum. Today, in our real estate business, the process we use to assess new properties and bring them online for rentals is very standardized and routine. We've refined it a little bit almost every time, but we have confidence in its core. There are a lot of ways to get involved with real estate investing, and I love to hear the approaches of others. I have friends and family elsewhere that do this sort of thing, but in completely different ways than us. But for those who are interested in following a path similar to the one that we took, I enjoy helping them build their confidence and courage to act based on all of these experiences. A version of that calculator we built is available through the link in the description, along with a number of other digital templates. It has all of the elements that we think about when making a purchase, along with guidance for how to consider each one of those elements. We even included some of our own numbers in there for comparison and demonstration. It doesn't replace someone from doing their own research and building their own confidence through knowledge, but it gives you a structure to learn on and a place to put your data as you gather it. I'm yet to see a better version of this tool out there myself, really. I'd love to hear your stories about change management, especially when the subject of that change was yourself and how you navigated it. Leave a comment in the chat and subscribe to stay connected for more content on real estate, change management, CI, and process improvement. Until next time.